also comes in for the Bears. And they'll go out of the shotgun on 3rd down. Tomczak straight up the middle. He's got the first down and more. Tomczak, 41-yard line. Finally covered by Paul Langford, but 15 yards for Mike Tomczak coming out of the pocket. And Suey gets his first try behind a block by Walter Payton across the 45 to about the 47. So give him a gain of about 5 yards. Last man up off the pile, T.J. Turner, the left defensive end. Numbers on Suey. Now, Suey is going to have to fight for his job a little bit this year. They really like the idea of playing Neil Anderson over there at the fullback spot, or even possibly Walter Payton. Really, the second time in 10 years that Walter Payton has played in the first exhibition game of the season, or preseason game rather. And there's the toss to Payton down to the Miami 39-yard line. Last tackle made by Bob Brzezinski instead of Rick Graff. Tomczak wants to throw again, has some pressure, unloads, complete over the middle. Down to the 33-yard line, hit Emery Moorhead, his tight end. Moorhead wrapped up by Jackie Shipp out of Oklahoma. Reves to kick off. Jeffries 31 and Jesse 32 are deep. And Tim Jesse from the 8-yard line. The 20, 30. And Reves made the stop, the ball down near the 43-yard line. A 36-yard return by Tim Jesse, the rookie out of Auburn. Sanders 20 and Anderson 35. The running backs behind Mike Tomczak. We've probably seen the last of Walter Payton for the night. This is Sanders. Good cutback. Gets to the 47, maybe the 48-yard line. Brought down by Rick Graff. And they'll give it to Anderson. First down and more to the 38-yard line. Brzezinski on top of him. On 3rd and 5 for Tomczak. Gentry on the delay, and Gentry diving for the first down. Doug Flutie on the sideline. Number 14 is Jim Harbaugh out of Michigan.
Flutie, I think, has been struggling in the last couple of weeks.
Yes, he has. The problem with Doug and his size, we discussed this. If you can, teams try to contain him because he cannot see a receiver going in the mid-range, in the middle of the field. He has trouble picking up those receivers, and we'll get on that later when he appears in the scheme.
3rd and 15 now for Tomczak and the Bears. 4 wide receivers in the ballgame. Pumps and throws over the middle, and it's complete. Knapczyk makes the catch. Knapczyk stopped at the 24-yard line. Don McNeil, number 28, makes the tackle on the first-year man out of Northern Iowa. Plenty of time. Sideline complete. 35. And it's Lou Barnes out of the University of Oregon. Only had 4 catches all of last year. 1st and 10 Bears from the 35. Tomczak to throw again. Dumps it out to Anderson. Anderson to the 40-yard line. Nice move for Anderson. Here comes the blitz. Jackie Shipp on the rush, and he gets rid of it to Ortego. Ortego across the 50 to the Dolphin 48-yard line. Don Brown out of Maryland made the stop. Good patience by Tomczak.
Keith Ortego coming off a shoulder problem last year. Not really a starter, but he's come up with some better routes, and they like that in practice thus far.
Ball spotted at the 49. Tim Reitman, the big tight end, down to the 45-yard line, stacked up by Larry Kolick, number 54, and Andy Hendel, number 90. 4 wide receivers in there. Anderson slipping out of the backfield. They throw over the middle, complete to Gentry. Gentry to the 32-yard line. That's a first down. Stopped by Trell Hooper, number 45, out of Memphis State. Jensen getting real good protection from that offensive line. And deep, had a man out there, and it's intercepted. It's picked off by Eric Jeffries. Jeffries down to the end zone. The pass was intended for Fred Banks and underthrown.
That was a nice play.
Nice play defensively. Yeah. I think Jensen kind of hung it up there a little bit. I think if that other guy, that number 13, was in there, that ball would have been right there.
Tom Brown, number 36, in there at fullback right here. Carsato's under a lot of pressure. Guns it near sideline, intercepted, yes. It's picked up by Reggie Phillips. And Phillips with just a great defensive play, cutting in front of the receiver, and Carsatos comes up limping.
Yep.
Otis Wilson did everything he could not to injure him. And they'll give it to the big fullback, Calvin Thomas. Thomas plowing for the first down, dragging tacklers with him. Good look at Flutie. Struggled last year. He admitted he didn't know the plays and was struggling. And they say he's been struggling this year in preseason. Flutie floats that one out there to Sanders. Sanders brought down and a hurry down the road, number 26.
All right, your analysis on Flutie.
Well, as I mentioned before, he's all right throwing those out-type patterns or a deep pattern. But if you hold him in the pocket and you have, maybe you want to hit a tight end or a back flaring around and coming inside, say, in between the hash mark, he has a difficult time because of the big offensive lineman.
McMahon said starting him against the Redskins was a mistake, was it?
Well, looking at it now, yes. He couldn't hit it. Couldn't hit the middle.
Sanders and Thomas the pass. Sanders. First down, and plenty more out to the 40-yard line.
Ditka went to the wall for him last year. I would say, Dick, that when you look at it, it was really Mike Ditka on the spot as well as Doug Flutie. Now pretty much he's on his own, right? You agree with that?
Yes, I think so.
2nd and 8. Flutie with play action. Chased out of the pocket.
What he does best.
Midfield, 40 and out of bounds. Good hustle by Flutie. Don McNeil was the man who chased him out of bounds, but he went 19 yards. You know, the thing about it, can you make a living doing this, especially at 5'6" or 5'7"?
Right. I mean, although he's entering his 2nd or 3rd year in the NFL, I mean, he went through college and he was able to adapt some way or another to get the job done. Of course, college defense is a little bit different than the NFL.
Plus, how durable is he? Reggie White put a lick on him in the USFL, knocked him out. We don't know, if he can take a hit.
Yeah.
Flutie will go to the shotgun. Mike Patrick, Roy Firestone, and Dick Buckus. Glad you could be with us tonight. 4-man rush for the Dolphins. Flutie throws, and it's complete. Very close to the first down. That's Glenn Kozlowski out of Brigham Young. And the Dolphins secondary closed in a hurry and stopped him about a yard shy of a first down.
Here it is again. What a catch. Ho! Ho! There you go.
And the second cheer you hear is because they're showing this on one of the tell screens here in the stadium, so the fans get another look at it. Flutie back to throw. This time he throws it to one of his own players, and it's Calvin Thomas.
There he is, Jim Harbaugh. Will be on deck, quarterback for the Bears.
Yardage throughout the ballgame so far, quite even. The big difference in turnovers. The Bears have committed 3. Jensen wants to go deep again. Pruitt. And Pruitt almost made the catch. Todd Bell with the interception. And once again, Miami tries to throw deep, and they underthrow it. And Todd Bell comes off with the INT.
There he is, Jim Harbaugh. He's a big kid, 6'3", 200. Unusually started his first college game against Miami. He makes his pro debut against another Miami. Now, who do you believe? Some, like the Cowboys general manager Gil Brandt, calls him the second coming of Roger Staubach. Other scouts say he should have never been a #1 pick. What do you think, Dick?
Well, it remains to be seen, but physically and mentally, he's right for the game. He's just got to get a little more patience. It's a little bit different offense than Michigan.
He's a tough kid. They'll get Anderson crossing the 15-yard line. Be about 2 yards shy of a first down.
And what I mean by that is, in Michigan, it was either a rollout or a quick sprint out type pass with maybe one receiver. Here in the NFL, they have a little better defense, and Mike Ditka was saying that he has to learn patience, not to go just the right to one receiver and try to drill it.
He's got the Bear spirit too, right? He tried to pick a fight with Richard Dent.
Well, he slapped Dent in a face mask, and they went at it a little bit. So he's got that little thing on his back that he wants to go at it.
3rd and 2. Anderson with 25 yards on 6 carries. Jesse will get a shot at it, and he appears to have the first down.
You know, you get a guy like Vinny Testaverde. I mean, he possibly could start.
We'll have to mention that Steve Fuller is out with shoulder surgery, so they don't have that option. Harbaugh scrambles. 25. It's 1st and 15 now for Chicago. Harbaugh, the rookie out of Michigan. Rush Anderson on the delay up to the 30-yard line. Hobley covers him there.
Isn't it true, though, that the Bears really wanted the linebacker Alex Gordon, at least Ditka did, and that Harbaugh was a selection from McCaskey?
Automatic first
down. It was against Ditka's wishes?
I think so at that time. And then Bill Tobin, along with Mike McCaskey, I guess talked Mike into it. Mike Ditka went along with it after it happened, and after minicamp, he says the kid really impressed him.
Bears got a break, a penalty against the Dolphins. Instead of the sack, they have a first down. Harbaugh airing one out. He's got a man wide open down the sideline. Ron Morris out of SMU. Touchdown, Bears. A 65-yard bomb from Jim Harbaugh to the speedster Ron Morris out of Southern Methodist.
And he is the whole package, the scouts tell me. This guy would have been a #1 draft pick if it hadn't been for a knee injury. He aggravated the knee in the scouting combine, ran a little bit slower, but that time, no, didn't look like he had any problems with the knee injury here. Look at this, just plain beating his defender.
But how do you like the pass? Right on there, right there.
Beautiful, beautiful. From SMU, home of the Mustangs. The Mustangs, by the way, not the horse, but the car that they gave the recruits at SMU, the Mustangs. Let's take a look at the replay one more time here. Jim Harbaugh, #1 draft pick, airing it out to the #2 draft pick. This is Ronnie Morris from SMU. Could be the last of the great players, perhaps, from SMU, right? Since they had the death penalty, huh? We may not see another good...
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, right? Couple of nice moves. Yeah, there he goes.
They're really impressed. They're really impressed by Morris at camp. He kick could really fly.
And they can use him. They need him, too. See, the Bears can really use a guy like Ron Morris because they've been doubling and tripling Willie Gault. He's really the only speed guy, and with McKinnon's knee problem, they need some firepower.
Right.
And they got it.
Lakehe Mooley is into the ball game for the first time. 9th-round draft choice out of Brigham Young. 2nd and 8. Chicago now starting to dominate the statistics. Hey, Mooley again. Good effort this time across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. Tim Pigeon, number 94, another rookie out of Syracuse, was in on the tackle. There's the leg, that is to Jesse. Larry Griffin out of North Carolina out of the secondary to make the tackle.
Another little flag there.
Along with Offerdahl and if Hugh Green comes back, they'll have quite a linebacking corps. Harbaugh on 3rd and long has to roll. And it's complete to Sanders, but Sanders will be well short of the first down at the Bears' 37. Larry Griffin, good coverage on that one. Just made sure he did not get to first down territory.
Big series here. Offside, maybe.
Harbaugh tosses it back to Mosley. Mosley breaking a couple of tackles up to the 37, 38-yard line, and the first down is important because the Dolphins are down to 2 timeouts. Anderson is back in there with Mosley, and Anderson will carry it outside. Another first down. Anderson stays in bounds, gets to the 47-yard line of the Dolphins, and now Chicago beginning to dominate on the ground. And there's another nifty-looking effort by Anthony Mosley. Toss to Mosley. And Mosley running very, very hard, trying to make an impression on the coaches in the 4th quarter, and I think he's getting the job done. Our final score here at Joe Robbie Stadium in Miami. The Chicago Bears 10, the Miami Dolphins 3.
1st and 10 from the 41-yard line. Flutie. And he runs his way to a first down. The slithery one. Doing what he does best with it.
Doug Flutie is maybe at his best in the open field. Senses some pressure. Curtis Greer gets into the pocket, and away he goes. Ron Monaco, the middle linebacker, really no threat to catch Doug Flutie. And
Brian Millard and Kurt Warner of the Seahawks were also ejected. Half a minute to go in the 3rd period. Sanders inside the 10, touchdown.
As the Ditka say, we can play defense, we want to run the football, and we want a quarterback that won't hurt us.
Preseason signee Mike Richardson had been holding outside the contract, will be in uniform next week in their final preseason game. Mike Richardson coming to terms after, well, he got whatever money was left after Ditka re-upped the other day. Mike signing a new 3-year deal. 2nd and 17 from the 23-yard line. And Flutie shoots one to the 39, caught there by Gentry. And Gentry works his way for a first down to the 46.
Yeah, well, I don't think this Bear game tonight will be one of them.
2nd and 7 from the 49. And a first down as Anderson makes the catch and is taken down to the 34-yard line.
Has the look of a man who senses what's going on around him, a very intelligent human being, and realizes that he is, I hate to use a cliche here, but he is indeed between a rock and a hard place. A lot of talented people who can run a ball club and throw a football here in Chicago, and Doug's fighting an uphill battle.
Here's an up-to-the-minute comparison now on the 3 quarterbacks minus McMahon during preseason. Tomczak, good numbers. Flutie, below par. And Harbaugh's looked good, playing the 4th quarter of their prior 2 games. We've yet to see him, though, tonight. 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line. Flutie throws and is caught by Anderson, and Anderson is out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
That's what you would do with Flutie. You roll him out of there, give him an option, particularly on that kind of a situation. Worked well enough to get a Heisman Trophy out of it. Here it is, just a little rollout. I'm sure that if he's around, Ditka's going to put in some kind of a series that will utilize this little roll, a floating pocket. It'll come up with these kinds of results.
Riley Walton in motion. 3rd and goal. And Flutie hits Walton, touchdown.
He's got a lot of fans here, Doug Flutie. They're on their feet.
Harbaugh's been warming up on several occasions. He started in about the 4th inning.
He was in there so bad. They don't appear to have changed their ways.
John Bruno, the rookie, kicks to the 25-yard line, and Gentry gets a nice block, turns it into a good run back as Gentry takes the ball into Cardinal territory. Ditka talking about the draft, and it was pretty commonly known at the time the Bears looking at a linebacker, Alex Gordon, out of Cincinnati, bypassed him when they saw Harbaugh still available, and to the surprise of a lot who follow the sport closely, they went to the QB, but it may turn out to be a brilliant move. 2nd down and 10. Harbaugh, the surprising #1 pick for Chicago in the draft. And Harbaugh takes off and picks up the first down. You look at the Bears situation, they had all of the quarterbacks. Remember, they had 4, and then they went out and they drafted Harbaugh, but Fuller is on injured reserve. Flutie is still a question mark. McMahon is a physical question mark. And if Tomczak isn't the answer, well, then they made a brilliant choice, assuming that Harbaugh can play.
Well, there's a guy in Ann Arbor, Michigan by the name of Schembechler that's sure that it was a brilliant choice.
From the 38-yard line, through the middle goes Calvin Thomas, the big fullback. And I mean big, he's about 250. Cardinals lead 20-16, 2:35 to go. And Harbaugh has a man for a first down at the 24. McKinnon and a crunching tackle by Leonard Smith.
McKinnon is coming back from that knee surgery, knee that was injured in the Super Bowl, missed all of last year, and he takes a great shot here. But that can give you a lot of confidence. Going with their opening defensive lineup.
Harbaugh stepping up and stepping out, and a first down to the 10-yard line.
Ditka doesn't have a quarterback problem. They're all great. Well, they're all good athletes. They can all run with the football, and Jim Harbaugh just pulls it down. Notice how he doesn't head for the sideline, stays in the middle of the field.
And they do it again. That's 11 times in the last 12 years, believe it or not, that the Cardinals have beaten the Bears in preseason.
The countdown to the 1987 season officially kicked off on August 1st when the Bears hit the practice field at Platteville, Wisconsin. 4 years ago, when the agreement between the Bears and the university here began, Platteville was a spacious, semi-private training location, perfect for a National Football League team. Then came the Super Bowl, followed by fans, thousands of fans, pouring into Platteville for a peek at William Perry or Jim McMahon. All of a sudden, it wasn't so spacious anymore.
Well, unfortunately, we created an animal. You guys wrote about us, and everybody read those papers you wrote, those great articles, and they believe them. And they just come out here in hordes to see us. Drones.
But if you don't count writer's cramp, the Bears came through training camp in relative good health. That appeared to have included Jim McMahon, recovering from the shoulder injury and subsequent surgery that ruined his 1986 season. McMahon didn't play in the preseason opener at Miami, but midway through the following week of practice, Jim thought he might get in there against the Steelers.
Fill in and hand off for a few plays or something. See how it feels.
Just as positive was the new relationship between McMahon and Mike Ditka. Last year, they argued openly in the media. This year, they opened some new channels of communication. It lasted until the final practice in Platteville. McMahon missed it to get his shoulder worked on, but nobody told Ditka that.
Did you check his room? What are you guys, nuts? It's not important about that stuff. I just made a statement. Now let it go. You write anything you want to write, but don't ask me if I checked his room. I didn't check his room, the bathroom, the closet. I didn't check any of that. And I don't intend to. I checked the field. He wasn't here.
Well, that storm blew over, even though McMahon did not play in that Steeler game. As it turned out, that was the least of his worries. We'll have more on Jim later on. But even without him, the Bears came up with some strong efforts in the preseason. It began in Miami. The Bears guests at the opening of Joe Robbie Stadium, and two Chicago rookies stole the show. First-round pick Jim Harbaugh found second-round pick Ron Morris behind the secondary. A 65-yard fourth-quarter play that beat the Dolphins 10-3. Then the home debut, August 22nd against Pittsburgh. It was Mike Tomczak's turn to shine. 2 touchdown passes in the first half by Mike. Another dynamite defensive effort that included Otis Wilson's interception return touchdown. The Bears 50, the Steelers 14. 9 days later, the Cardinals came to town, riding a 5-game preseason winning streak against the Bears. They extended it to 6, thanks to Bear turnovers and this freak touchdown that finished the first half. St. Louis won it 20-16. And last weekend in Los Angeles, sloppy on offense but devastating on D, the Bears beat the Raiders 20-17. 11 sacks against L.A. quarterbacks. Tomczak bounced off the bench to hit Riley Walton for a game-tying touchdown in the final 2 minutes. Then, with exactly 1 second on the clock, Kevin Butler kicked a 42-yard field goal to win it. The Bears go 3 out of 4 in the preseason. One sight we did not see in the preseason was Jim McMahon throwing a forward pass in competition, and we won't see it for at least 6 weeks either.
It's the short passes, the 10, 15-yard out passes where it's got to go on a string where he's got the problems.
Jim McMahon's shoulder exam in Los Angeles yielded the expected bad news that he was headed for the injured reserve list. Dr. Frank Jobe was happy with the healing process, but prescribed new exercises to make that shoulder area stronger. Like MacArthur, Jim will return. At least that's what the poster says. But he's out for a minimum 6 weeks. That makes Mike Tomczak the starting quarterback, but not exactly by default. Mike's been after that job since camp opened.
You know, I'm working on my arm strength and working on my foot quickness. And, you know, I said before, I jumped a lot of rope and a lot of punching bags to develop that arm quickness. And it's just carrying over into camp.
Tomczak's hard work paid off. He's the only free agent quarterback in the NFL to have his name and Super Bowl mentioned in the same breath. But he's not Jim McMahon, and Mike wants people to know that.
Flutie flush. Throws it down. Caught by Boston College. I don't believe it. It's a touchdown.
The old miracle worker opens 1987 as #1 backup. At Boston College, Doug Flutie won the Heisman Trophy with that throw. After a year in the USFL, Doug joined the Bears last October. In his first real action, he conjured up some more of that BC magic.
Flutie takes rolling out left, being chased by Browner. Stops and heaves the left side of the end zone for Payton over the shoulder. Saves for the touchdown!
But Flutie came up short, so to speak, in the playoff loss to Washington. And when camp started this season, he was fighting to make the team.
Freshman year of college, I came in. I was the 9th quarterback. So I'm used to working with a lot of numbers as far as that was concerned, but that was a while ago. And, it's just new things to pop up all over the place, and you just got to learn to deal with it and adjust. And I feel like I'm putting my best foot forward.
Partly by attrition, partly by performance, Flutie made the squad. But if Jim McMahon comes back healthy, Doug's days may be numbered. Then there's the rookie. Jim's preseason passing and his maturity have opened a lot of eyes, though everyone agrees he'll need time to learn. One plus, after playing for Bo Schembechler at Michigan, Harbaugh should be able to cope with Mike Ditka.
Coach Ditka and Bo is like the same thing, really. I think I've been prepared real well with Coach Schembechler. And, looking into Coach Ditka's eyes, it's like looking into Bo's eyes. So, comfortable for me.
He'd win some games for you just alone on his competitive spirit until he got the knowledge of what was going on. I think he would win some for you just the way he plays the game if he could stay in one piece, because he's doing a lot of running right now.
Harbaugh's not the only rookie who made a name for himself in the preseason. Wide receiver Ron Morris came to the Bears in the second round from SMU, whose creepy reputation includes a lot of things, but a strong passing attack isn't one of them. Yet Morris has played so well, he's bumped veteran Dennis McKinnon to the second unit. Willie Galt's on the other side. Dennis Gentry will operate from wide and wing positions. Up front, the same old reliable group: Covert, Bort, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn, with Emery Moorhead at tight end. In the backfield, a new assignment for Neil Anderson, who's become the starting fullback. Mike Ditka trying to utilize the speed of Anderson and running back Thomas Sanders. And the catalyst here, well, it's the same as it's been for the last 12 seasons. Mike Ditka said the other day, the only thing constant about football is change. Well, he must have forgotten for a second about Walter Payton. Sweetness, when we come back in just a moment.
Well, they call me Sweetness, and I like to dance. Running the ball is like making more man.
Walter Payton was a natural for the Super Bowl shuffle. After all, he's been dancing through life since he was a little boy in Mississippi. With respect to his football career, 1987 will be the last dance. Walter's vacillated some since he announced his retirement, kind of, in July. But he told me this week, this year will finish it.
This is my last year.
For sure?
Yeah. Gonna play more after this.
Okay, these games must be more and more important.
They are, because you want to, when you know it's your last time you're going to play that team, unless you get into the playoffs or whatever, you want to do the best you possibly can and make the best showing.
Well, if it is Walter's last, it's the finish to a football career unparalleled in the NFL. His 30-team and league records speak for themselves, but Payton's durability may be the most phenomenal thing about him. Running back is the most perilous position in football, yet Walter's missed exactly one game in 12 seasons. He's at 174 in a row, and counting.
Some things have happened. I've had some injuries, but fortunately enough for me, I've been able to overcome them, either by mental or just by physical conditioning.
Is that a talent or something that you're born with?
No, it's something I think everybody's born with. I think it's a matter of developing it to its fullest stage. I think I've gone beyond some people in my development of it.
Lightly. What Walter's also developed is a network of business interests that he hopes will eventually lead to NFL ownership. In the meantime, it's football and fun, and not necessarily in that order.
Down in the front. Get down on your knees now. Get down. Hold it. No. Move down. Take a foot. You move down. Yeah, there. Where you from? What you doing out here? You with somebody? Huh? You get me in trouble like that, old dude. Yeah, get out of here.
That explains why he's so fond of kids. He still is one. In fact, Walter feels he could still play effectively, but he wants to remain, in the eyes of youth, a man to look up to, a man whose example is one to be followed. But on this team, Walter has to share that unique label. Nobody's seen many defenses like the Chicago Bears defense.
Use your knees to lift your head. That's the strongest part of your body. Your knees and your hips a little bit. All right, play the piano. Let's go. Ready? Go. Next man. Let's go.
Today, it's a different Bear defense, but the results are very much the same. In little more than a year, Vince Tobin has redefined the defense once nurtured by Buddy Ryan. By the numbers, you'd say they never missed a beat. League leaders in total D 3 years running, and last year an NFL record for fewest points given up in a 16-game season. Now the Tobin system is fully in place and fully understood. which must be a frightening thought for quarterbacks around the league.
They know me, I know them type of situation, so there's nothing that any of us has to prove to each other. We're all on the same page of wanting to have the best defense that we possibly can. There's no more ghosts that we're looking over our shoulder for, and in that respect, the communication's been a lot better, and it's just been a lot more comfortable situation.
Last year, we were trying to learn a defense and react at the same time, and I think this year we're more comfortable about what we have to do and what our responsibilities are, and I think we can get out there and do the job.
We have some tremendous athletes. We also have some great character on the defensive side, guys that really want to be the very best, and that's one reason they've been the best for the last 2 or 3 years, is they've got pride in showing that they're the best defensive football team in the National Football League.
Well, it's a very special thing. It's hard to say that. The only thing that I can ever, make allude to would be people that I've talked to that have been through war together. The guys that I know that went to Vietnam together, they have a special feeling for the players the people that they went to war with. And a lot of football players have the same feeling towards their teammates. It's something you don't find in all sports, and I think only football, because you go through so much hell to prepare for what you're going to do on Sunday.
What the hell's the play?
If ever a football coach has personified a team and a city, well, here he is. In almost a literal sense, Mike Ditka is Chicago. Tough, big-shouldered, explosive, emotional, complex, and even compassionate. When Ditka led the Bears to the Super Bowl, he reached a superhero status in the city, finishing a process that began when he played for and stood up to George Halas in the 60s.
Well, I love Chicago. I believe that I am a Chicagoan. I believe that I am a Bear. I think there's a lot of difference. So, a lot of people don't understand and care to understand it, and I really don't care. I'm sure there are people who say, well, they're a Bronco or they're a Raider. And there probably are a lot of people like that. But I believe that I'm a Bear.
Another thing about Ditka that endears him to Chicago, his ego isn't so big that he can't laugh at himself every once in a while. Mike didn't record this Grabowski shuffle because he thinks he's another Fred Astaire, so he's not too bad. Ditka's plugged into a lot of interests, his restaurant, motivational work, but he's mostly about football, and he's very serious about that.
It's a chess match. It's a checker match. You outthink the other guy a little bit. What's he going to do? Why is he going to do that? If he does that, what am I going to do? How am I going to offset that? Are we prepared if they do this? If they're going to give us all this listen, what are we looking for? What about the change-up defenses? Are we prepared? There's so much to go into it that it becomes interesting. It's like defensively, I was talking to Vince yesterday, and we're talking about some things, and it's interesting to see what he's thinking right away in his checker game. And I think, to me, that's what's intriguing about football. It's a little bit maybe like a general in a war. Your strategy is involved with how you defeat your opponent, because that's what it comes down to. You got to win a lot of the little battles to win the big battle.
That'll do it tonight for Bears Bonus. I hope you've enjoyed the show. I know you'll enjoy the Chicago Bears in 1987.